I guess. So in this video, I majorly wanted to show you how formula columns work on Bitscale. So it is like one of the most lucrative like features available on the platform, and they operate in like two ways. Basically, number one is like for transformative actions, wherein you have some data point or text, and you want to retrieve a subtext or maybe transform a number. Like for example, if you have an employee count, right, like available right here, and you want to check whether it's more than n number or not. So in those situations wherein one data point is being transformed into another based on some logic, you can use the formula column there. The second use case is when you want to create an instance of a static text. For example, in many of our like videos, especially outreach videos, you might have seen we ask you to get a company blurb and then like maintain that across the grid so that whenever an AI enrichment is happening by either bit agent or any other AI enrichment tool on platform, the context of the company is maintained, right? So very similar to that, you can maintain any static text across a grid if you just write that in the formula column. I'll be showing you both of these use cases as well. And the third thing that I want to talk about is our formula generation capability. So we have recently made some changes which has like made that capability much better. So now you can generate very complex formulas and it has better context, and I'll show you how all of that works. So firstly, the transformative action. For that, it's fairly simple. You can just create a formula column either by clicking here on formula column or on this drop down right here. You'll find the formula column option here as well. And once you do that, you would have an option to either do a transformation or create a static text. So static text would look something like this. I'll just call this static. We'll save this. And once I run it for the first 10 rows, it will just implement that same text across the rows. So this is the only use case wherein like if you the only way really in which you can like maintain a single piece of text across a grid. Do with it as you will. Along with this, obviously you can do some transformative actions as well. An example of that would be, let me see what kind of columns we have in this grid. Let's consider a scenario wherein we want to maintain this company URL in a way wherein we only want to maintain the things after www dot and not the HTTP or the DNS certifications, etc. So in those situations, something that you can utilize is I'll just go to this formula column, tag the column I want to make the changes on to the company URL, and dot split. Here I'll put those double slashes and put 1. So this is a very basic formula wherein we are asking it to split that text into 2 halves or n number of halves based on how many double tags are there, and then pick the second element. So in formula columns, the indexing happens from 0 onwards. So 0 is the first element, 1 is the second element, and so on and so forth, as with most programming languages. We'll just save this and run it. And we get all of the company URLs as we intended. So these are 2 ways in which you can majorly use formula columns. But now what's made this like functionality extremely usable for our users is the fact that they can generate this via AI. And earlier our formula generation capabilities were just based on the prompt that you were giving. And sometimes new users or users who don't exactly know how to phrase something, they used to find a lot of like junk formulas or the responses are not as good. So this thing improves that multi-folds. So the only context that you need to remember is what was the value available in the first row of the column that you want to operate on. For example, if I want to check whether the employee count is more than 100,000 or not, maybe that is something that I want to set up. And I see, okay, for the first row it's like 1.96411k. It's more than 100k, right? So in those scenarios, you can simply go to generate formula with AI. I'll just put check if at the rate employee count is more than 100,000. Now, earlier you might have to like put in what kind of output you want, data points, etc. Now you can simply just put in the recommended result or the result you expect, and the GPT and or the model at the backend is able to contextualize everything. I'll just put yes here, generate formula, and it creates the perfectly correct formula for this use case. And if, for example, in some scenarios wherein maybe the formula is not generated perfectly, right? In those scenarios, you would also have the option to improve these results, like by adding the expected result multiple times and then regenerating. So that can then lead you to the most appropriate formulas. Anyways, the first 5 rows will be instantialized right here so that you can see if the formula is actually correct or not. So just click on looks good and it will be implemented. Save it. And I'll just run it once more. And it just classifies whether the employee count is more than 100,000 or not. So these are the formula columns. Fairly customizable, modular. Feel free to use it in your workflows, any transformative or static testing instantialization you can use this for. And if you have any other questions, do reach out to us. Our support channel is like always active, so would love to help out. Cheers. Bye bye.